real quick.
Okay. We're trying to get hooked up on YouTube right now.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, we can hear you, and now we can hear me too. But can you hear us okay? Jeff. Hey, go to Verizon tomorrow and try to trade your phone in.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
You with us, Rex? Here's Rex. You with us, Rex? I can see you, but I can't hear you, Rex.
Not hearing anything. Is anybody hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you now.
Oh, well, there we go. Now, I think I can hear you.
Okay, you got us loud and clear?
Yep.
Okay, Aaron, what did you find out from Jeff? Actually, I've lost Aaron.
No, nothing. I think it looks like, I don't know. Did he call in maybe? Jeff, can you hear us?
Well, I've got something I've never seen before. It's just a number, a phone number. 0530, is that his cell phone number? Does anybody know?
I don't think so.
I think that 0530 is Daryl.
Daryl Radford? Okay.
Who's Galaxy A10e?
I thought that was Jeff.
I thought it was too. Guess not.
Yeah, that's Jeff.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes. It says that a host will let me in soon. No.
Well, I don't know that we want to mess it up if you can hear us and we can hear you.
That's right. You seem to be in.
Yeah.
It's connecting now. Thank you.
I let you in a long time ago and they already got your picture.
Oh, there it is.
Actually, I've got you on there twice.
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matt Schofield. Can you hear us? Brian, can you hear us?
Brian's muted.
We're ready to start. I think we have all the council here, so we'll go ahead and get started. And Joel's here. City Council meeting Monday, December 7th, 2020 comes to order. Brenda, we're ready for the roll call, please.
Mike Guffey,
Present.
Jeff Hancock,
Present.
Jerry Walden. He's muted.
Jerry.
Hold on.
Gotcha. I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
Aaron Dickin,
Here.
Mark Koger,
Here.
Lynn Purdue.
Here.
Rex Beckenpaul.
Here.
Okay.
Thank you, Brenda. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes from the former meeting?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second.
Motion made by Jeff, seconded by Jerry. Roll call vote, please.
Mike Guffey,
Aye.
Jeff Hancock,
Aye.
Jerry Walden,
Aye.
Aaron Dickin,
Aye.
Mark Koger,
Aye.
Lynn Purdue,
Aye.
Rex Beckenpaul.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Mr. President, I turn this meeting over to you.
Okay, our first order of business is resolution number 12072020-1. And it's a resolution authorizing the transfer of funds. whereas the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Security Act, CARES Act, was enacted by Congress on March 27, 2020, whereas the CARES Act provided for federal funding to state and local governments to reimburse the state and local governments for expenses incurred as a result of COVID-19 public health emergency, and whereas the United States Department of Health and Human Services, that's HHS, has offered grant funding to assist local governments during the COVID-19 public health emergency, and whereas funds have been made available to the City of Newcastle under the CARES Act, and the City of Newcastle has incurred expenses that are reimbursable under the CARES Act, and whereas the City of Newcastle has received grant funding from the HHS, whereas reimbursements from funds received under the CARES Act and the HHS grant should be made to the funds from which the expenditures were originally posted. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Newcastle that the sum set forth below shall be transferred within the general fund as follows. The sum of $560,000 from Fund Number 150, COVID-19 CARES Act grant to Fund Number 535. Number two, the sum of $56,219.20 from Fund Number 151 COVID-19 HHS grant fund to Fund Number 699. I move we pass resolution number 1272020-1.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I just wanted to make the comment, could be in the form of a question, but basically, I think it's pretty clear in what the resolution says, but I want the public to realize this isn't the city getting $500,000 that we can go out and spend on roads or whatever. This is money that we spent as a result of the COVID-19, and now we're getting reimbursed for it. It's just a wash, so to speak, in terms of the overall ramifications to the city's monetary fund.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Any other questions or comments? Call vote, please.
Mike Guffey,
You're muted, Mike.
Aye, sorry.
Jeff Hancock,
Aye.
Jerry Walden,
Aye.
Aaron Dickin,
Aye.
Mark Koger,
Aye.
Lynn Purdue,
Aye.
Rex Beckenpaul.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, next we have second reading on ordinance 3850, modifying chapter 115 of city code. That's the towing ordinance. We read that ordinance earlier in a meeting, but just for an update, we did make amendments to the ordinance in terms of the required insurance. That was talked about between Mr. Estel and Mr. Harvey, and these are the levels that our insurance agent, Mr. Estel, suggested. Basically, I'll read those. Vehicular liability insurance in an amount of $1 million per accident for each truck used in towing of a vehicle. B, general liability insurance, an amount of no less than $1 million per occurrence covering the licensed person. C, on-hook coverage on vehicles being towed in the amount of no less than $100,000. And D, garage keepers insurance covering stored vehicles and the contents of stored vehicles in an amount of no less than $300,000. The other places where we had made a change, I think, from the original one in section 115.07, towing and storage charges. Basically, for the towing of a vehicle from an accident site, it originally said they could have a minimum additional of $100 charge. Well, it's an additional of $150 at the end. The rate of storage charges changed from $30 to $35 a day. Also, in section in that same section, there's an area where it talks about storage charges. It mentions an additional charge of 30 may be imposed if a vehicle is released to its owner after 6 p.m. or before 6 a.m. No later than November 1st of each year. This section was added since the last meeting. No later than November 1st of each year. The Special Issues Committee of the Common Council shall meet with the Chief of Police to review the rates and charges permitted under this chapter. After conferring with the Chief of Police, the Special Issues Committee may make recommendations to the Common Council regarding any adjustments to basically that area of the ordinance, the rates. Also, that was just I believe a typo that was corrected. So that's the corrected ordinance. I'll move we pass that ordinance on second reading.
So, Mr. President, this is going to be a fluid situation where it can be changed from one year to another, correct?
Yeah, come next November or before next November, I would hope that if there are problems with this, the towing companies would go to the assistant chief, bring those issues up to him, and then the Special Issues Committee will meet with the assistant chief and chief to go over anything that was brought up and any issues that the police department has with this.
Thank you.
Matt, I have you up. Matt Schofield, I don't know if your audio is turned off or if you can, we can't hear you. Did you have anything to add to this? Brian Atkins, I have you on, but your little red microphone has a line through it. So I don't know if you was wanting to say anything tonight.
You may need, I was going to say, you may need to click that little microphone where the red is.
And I have another number on here that is not familiar. The last 4 digits of the phone number is 0530. Does anybody know who that is?
That's Daryl Radford.
That's Daryl? Okay, okay. Matt just spoke up and said that he doesn't have anything else to add to it. So Matt Schofield is okay with it. So we've got a motion and a second.
Well, let's wait and see if we can get, I'm sure Brian wants to say something. I don't know what, he probably just doesn't know exactly what's going on. I'll call him and ask him if he.
Tell him in the meeting, but his microphone is muted. So
Yeah, I'll do that right this moment. Because I do want him to be able to speak. I think it's only fair.
Mayor, I think if you go to
Hey,
his
Brian, are you
window
looking at the meeting?
and click on the 3
Okay,
dots, you can
there should
request
be a
to
little
unmute.
Speaker like microphone thing down there that you may have to click.
Since you are the host, you should be able to unmute him or at least make it to
Okay.
where it pops
Is there
up
a
in front of him.
microphone down in the,
done it twice and
Left
it's
hand.
There he's
unmuted.
on. Now we can hear him.
oh, now you're okay. You should be able to talk. Okay, bye. Yeah, well, go ahead and talk. Bye.
Brian, have you
Brian,
been able to listen to us? Have you heard us? Do you have any comments you want to make?
Brian?
He's unmuted on my end.
Yeah.
He's unmuted.
Well, he might be muted on his end. I'll call him again.
Ask him, Rex.
Just put him on speakerphone, Rex.
Yeah, just put him on
Here.
speakerphone.
Okay, now listen, can you hear him?
Yes. Okay, you guys
We've,
can hear me now?
we've got this ready for a vote, Brian. Do you have any comments you want to make?
There's a couple of things that I've got some questions with. Where it says police directed tow, that is the same as a non-consensual tow. So I think that whole section could probably just be taken out because it's repeating what the first part already says.
Not necessarily. A non-consensual tow could be, for instance, if somebody's parked in my private parking lot and I call a tow truck to come pick it up.
That's a non-consensual tow.
Correct, and that would be a non-consensual tow that's not a police-directed tow.
Police, but if it's a police-directed tow, it is still a non-consensual tow. The
Correct.
Supreme Court ruled that there's only two definitions for towing, and one is non-consensual tow, and the other one would be a consensual tow.
Correct, but you could have a non-consensual tow that's initiated by someone other than the police department. It's probably not common in
You can,
Newcastle.
like private property tows, you can, like a private property tow would be an instance of that non-consensual tow. If somebody parks on your private property and you need to have that vehicle removed, it is a non-consensual tow.
Correct.
But it wouldn't be directed by the police department, but it's still under that same code of rules.
Well, if we've just repeated ourselves twice, we're going to leave it in there. I mean, it's not contradicting itself. You suggest
Okay,
there, counselor?
that's, as long as they don't contradict what would be a consensual tow, that's what my issue would be, I guess.
No, it's not intended to do that at all.
Okay. And then the 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to release a vehicle. Is somebody going to be available for the 24 hours at the police department to give the $10 fee for like an impounded vehicle? If somebody wants to come and get their car at 3 o'clock in the morning, is somebody going to be at the police department to give them that receipt? I'm thinking of things that's going to be a problem to get through.
Matt's texting us right now. They'd have to wait till business hours till the office opens, the police headquarters office opens.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking it would be. I've always released cars 24 hours a day, so I'm okay either way with that part of it.
I mean, they could come here and pay the $10 fee, and then they could do that at 2 o'clock, and they, for some reason, cannot call you till 7 or 8 o'clock of night. We can't control that.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
Good point,
And then,
Your Honor.
Let's see, I was trying to highlight some things here. The insurance, I wasn't quite, I just got logged in right as you was going through the insurance part. So the copy I have still says the $2 million aggregate. Is that still correct?
Let me get it and I'll tell you again.
Okay.
Well, for the first
just let
time.
me in.
No, under that required insurance, A is vehicular liability insurance in an amount of $1 million per accident for each truck used in the towing of a vehicle. B,
Okay.
general liability insurance in an amount of no less than $1 million per occurrence covering the licensed person. C, on hook coverage on vehicle being towed in the amount of no less than $100,000. And D, garage keepers insurance covering stored vehicles and the contents of stored vehicles in an amount of no less than $300,000.
Okay, so the on hook as $100,000. Is there any issues with changing that to 50,000?
Well, our insurance guy told us, Mr. Estel told us that that was a good number.
It is for the insurance guy, it sure is. But it raises our prices up so high, I can think maybe less than 5 cars in Newcastle are worth $100,000.
You know what? I got, in my opinion, if somebody doesn't want on this ordinance and they don't want to cooperate with it, then they just need to get off the city tow. It's just that simple. This is a fair ordinance. It's got fair money. If Brian doesn't want to participate, then take his name off the tow.
You couldn't afford to pay for the insurance at $200 a tow. I didn't hear who said that either. Was that Matt or was that Mr. Mayor?
That was Mark Kogan.
Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. So at $200 a tow, we roughly do 500 tows a year, roughly. That's an estimate. Insurance for one truck is around $1,500 to $1,700 a month. So that's a lot of $200 tows.
But those aren't the only tows you're doing.
They are not.
Okay, I mean,
But
so I mean,
there is
that's a
big
little bit
percentage
skewed.
of the city.
Mhm.
So it's not about a matter of whether wanting to be on it or not be on it, but make it fair for all.
It is fair for all.
It is fair for all. Nobody else is complaining about it. Everybody else is okay with it. If you don't want to be on it, don't be on it. It's that simple.
No, I do want to be on it, but when I talked to Chad at Hudson's today, and when I talked to Hopkins, both of them wasn't okay with it.
Well, then don't go on it then.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm saying that all three of the towing companies that's on it now all have a problem with the pricing part of it.
Whatever.
I'm just stating what they had told me.
Well, you're talking about somebody else who's not on here. So
No, Hudson's and Hopkins is both on the city rotation. We're the
I'm
only
in
three.
this meeting right now. Nobody's on here to voice their opinion but you.
Well, I understand. I did tell them both, tried to tell them how to get on there. Being we're doing it through Zoom, it is a little bit
You
more.
know what? Hey, Brian, this has been going on for well over 6 months that Matt has went above and beyond trying to get you guys squared away, ask you what to do, ask you how you wanted it done. And you guys have never come back to him until he presented something. And then you guys all got got in an uproar. And now it's an issue. If it's an issue, then just don't be on the city tow. Go to the state and county and be done with it.
Well, I never said I didn't want to be on it. So
okay, then go. Then cooperate.
I definitely want to be on it.
Okay, then go by what's written in the ordinance and be done with it.
I'm not saying I won't go by it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm giving my input. I thought that's what this was about.
I'm done listening.
That is what this is about. We will, the thing is, we have a clause in there that says we will be evaluating this ordinance, the pricing of this ordinance.
So out of every towing company here, I went through 10 years of Rec Master certification. So I do have a lot of knowledge in the towing field, the pricing, billing classes, and what is to be charged. So I do have a little bit of education about the pricing.
We put this together based on what insurance and our attorney has suggested that we do, and we have it in writing. And if there's anything else, Brian, you have to add it now. You got one more comment, and then we're going to take it to a vote. So do you have another comment on it?
Doesn't sound like it's going to do good either way. So, I mean, I'll do whatever I have to do.
Hearing none. If there's any other questions, roll call vote.
I only had a first from Rex. I haven't got
Okay.
on it yet.
Is there a second?
Second.
Lynn, second it. Any other questions or comments from the council? Roll call vote, Brenda.
Mike Duffy,
Aye.
Jeff Hancock, Jerry Walden. Jerry, you're muted.
Jerry.
He's muted. Hang on.
There we go.
Okay, Jerry
Aye.
Walden,
Aye.
Aaron Dickin,
Aye.
Mark Koger,
Aye.
Lynn Purdue,
Aye.
Rex Beckenpaul.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, now we'll start committee reports. Mr. Guffey.
I don't have anything.
Okay, Mr. Hancock.
Yes, I have a couple. First of all, Mayor, refresh my memory about the sewer line on 300 South between Road 3 and 103. Is that still in the process of happening?
Yes.
Do we have a start date, maybe spring, or
No, we're,
no start date? Any idea
No.
roughly when it's going to take place?
no.
Okay.
That's a water and a sewer project. So we're still working with the construction and the consulting company on what size it needs to be. And yeah, we're working on it, but it does not have a start date yet.
Okay, but it's still in progress then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Joel, can you hear me?
I can.
Joel, I just want to, I'm sorry about county and all that, but as far as the city, we have plenty of work for you to do. We appreciate all you do. And even though you're not with the county, the city has quite a bit of work for you to do. So we appreciate you being on board.
Thank
That's
you. I
all, Your
appreciate it.
Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Walden.
I have just a couple of things. Mr. Mayor and Rex, I contacted you about a local disabled veteran and some things that are going on right now to help him out with his living conditions. He's had some really bad leaks in his roof and he has quite a bit of water damage in his house. I've accepted to be the conduit to the city administration and the city council. I really don't want to say too much more publicly about this until things get more underway and solidified. I have met with this veteran, and when I left, my heart was full. He's really in need. He's had some bad things happen to him just this year. And we've had some citizens step forward and are working to make his living conditions better. And some other things that's going on. So that's why I accepted to be the conduit, and hopefully here at a latter date, I'll be able to give you some really good news on what all is going on for be able to help this gentleman out. I think what I will do, I will send each of you an email giving you some information on the individual themselves, and just leave it at that for right now. So just have faith in me. It's something that I'm excited about, and I hope that we're able to pull this off as a community. It's one of those things that I needed personally with everything that's been going on. And as I said, it just really filled my heart when I got to meet with him. So hopefully, as I said, I'll have some good news for you here in the near future. Secondly, Joel, I don't know if you're going to say anything about the land bank meetings coming up. I hope you do. And I just want to pass along, Joel, we have full confidence in you, and we appreciate everything that you do for us as our city representative. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
That's all.
Okay, Mr. Dickin.
Councilman Walden, I actually heard that EIRPC was going to have a legislative update, and I know that you're our liaison. Hopefully you'll be there, but hopefully that'll give all of us opportunities to send Jerry some questions. I don't know if Mark maybe has some comments for our local legislatures or not, but I'll send you a couple things that, I mean, locally I've heard of, and I've tried to communicate with them. Yeah. Other than that, I know we had been talking about the IU greenhouse emissions program, the resilience cohort program. It's $500 to get going. I know time constraints and manpower was a concern. I've talked with Crystal at the library, who's on board to help. And I've also talked to Jeff Ray of Healthy Communities, who's on board to help. It's been estimated, I got contact from IU this afternoon, and they estimate dedicated staff time at 10 to 20 hours per month for 3 to 4 months. Data collection is what takes the longest, waiting for people to send you that. And I think that's where, I mean, your data collection is probably going to be coming from department heads, would be my guess. Data entry, which they use specific software for. And if it comes in, if the data comes in a weird format, I mean, I'm used to dealing with that anyway, but they have some technical expertise to help with that. And then reporting results, which, you know, the report can be as concise as we want it to be. So, I mean, this is we've been talking about recycling, and I think this takes, recycling paper and cardboard another step further. If we really want to make sure that there's a lot of shade underneath the trees that we're planting, these are the programs that we need to be taking advantage of. So I think we've all had plenty of time to think about it, but I'd propose allocating $500 from the Riverboat Fund to go towards this program with, as was mentioned at the previous meeting, I would take the lead from the city administration, city council point of view, just because it doesn't sound like anybody else wants to do that. And I think this is a good thing and want to see it get done, and work with those other two. But I'm open to any other comments or anything else.
Well, I'll second your motion.
Any other questions or comments?
Hey, Aaron, when this $500 is distributed, is there a deadline on the date that has to be done?
The program itself or the application, like the money?
Yeah, let's go application first, I guess.
Okay, application's due by the end of this week. And I know that's why we wanted to make a final decision and have plenty of time to think about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So is the $500 for the application, or is it for expenses?
The $500 is for the program period. If we wanted an intern, and not everybody they said that pretty much everyone that applies gets in, but not everybody that applies gets an intern. The intern's extra cost to the program, but they just ask for donations. I mean, if we get to that point, I think having an intern would obviously make our lives a lot easier. It'd be a great experience for them. But I think that we can approach, the foundation, Healthy Communities, and see, who might be willing to help in that case. But I think between Jeff, Crystal, and myself, communication is going to be key, if we're being real honest, with these department heads. So I'm sure that I will come to, any of you in the administration to help with that, but I think we can tackle it.
Okay. Any other questions? We had a motion. Was there a second?
Yes.
Rex did.
Had a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mike Guthrie,
Aye.
Jeff Hancock,
Aye.
Jerry Walden,
Aye.
Aaron Dickon,
Aye.
Mark Koger,
Aye.
Lynn Purdue,
Aye.
Rex Peckinpah.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
I'll get that application submitted here tonight, tomorrow, the next couple of days. The only other thing, I'm sure that you guys are aware, it seems like the street lights between 12th and Main on Broad are out on the south side.
On the 3 on Main and the 6 on Broad Street.
Yeah. Okay.
Working in October and
right. I think it was when they did the outlets, right? Something
Duke has been here every week trying to find the main source. So, they're working on trying to get them up and running, but they don't have it conquered yet. But yeah, they've been working on it feverishly, actually.
That's what I figured. Okay, I just wanted to mention that. That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Koger.
Nothing, Rex.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Purdue?
Nothing tonight.
Okay, first thing I've got, Brenda, did we got in, we had 250 toters we ordered. We got in 250 more Friday, maybe. Now, did we place the order for the other?
He is tomorrow for 500 more.
Okay, then after that order is placed, how much does that leave us in the toter fund?
There's going to be around $2,000 in the toter fund.
Okay, and that's prior to getting a draw in December. So in other words, by the end of December, we'll have about 16,000 approximately.
Roughly, yeah. But I've been letting him know every time that he can order so that we can get them stockpiled again.
Right, when we get, 1,500, 2,000, I gotta believe we're pretty close to home.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Now, last meeting, recycling was brought up, and You know, the mayor mentioned moving the dumpsters down, you know, on Vine Street. You know, but I'm afraid we're in a position where we're going to be just like we have for the last 7 or 8 years, where we talk about it and we never really do anything about it. I think the picture in the paper maybe gets a bump for a short period of time. I do disagree with you, Your Honor, when you said that we can't get people to buy into that sorting paper and cardboard. If we can't get them to buy into that, it's going to be hard to get them to buy into sorting for curbside. I don't really agree with that, because I think people are into convenience. I think the thing is not necessarily the idea of sorting it so much as it is the idea of putting it in a car or truck and driving it to you know, a dumpster. It might be helpful at this point. I think maybe those dumpsters will hold a little more, but I think that people will be much more apt to buying curbside recycling than having to drive it somewhere. And so after the last meeting, I really spent a lot of time thinking about this recycling thing. And I've got, Aaron, do you have that PowerPoint that you can share?
Yeah, but it's screen sharing is disabled.
Oh, it is?
On our end?
Yeah.
Yeah, host disabled participant screen sharing. Can you enable it?
Can try.
Try that.
There we go. Yep, you're good.
Okay, well, title, Recycling for Newcastle, Making Our City Greener and Cleaner. Go ahead and go to the next one, Aaron. Now, my numbers are a little off here because it's based on where we were prior to ordering some more toters. But anyway, right now there's no recycling taking place in Newcastle other than somebody taking recycling to the dumpsters now in the new location. Citizens do seem to want recycling. I think I get asked quite often about it, something that's brought up regularly. Now, we don't have 40,000 in a toter fund right now because we just ordered more toters, but we are on a regular basis taking in 14,000 per month. And in 3 or 4 or 5 months, we'll be to the point where we will not need to buy toters even nearly as often because we'll be caught up. So basically right now we take in about $3 a customer. And in the next few months, we should easily have enough money in the fund to allow us to change the distribution of that $3 fee. Okay, so go ahead and head to the next section. Okay, so what I'm proposing is that effective, I'm not making a motion tonight. I'm putting this out there so we can look at it, think about it, and possibly in January, early February, move on this. But I'm suggesting that effective in April, and this could be May, but in April, change the distribution of the fee so that $1 per month is going to be dedicated to paying 2 part-time employees to do recycling. That leaves the rest of the fee set aside for toters. And by that time, we should be in a situation where that should be plenty to keep us in a steady flow of toters that we need. These 2 employees could work on recycling. This could be 2 part-time employees, or it could be 4 part-time employees with them working, 2 of them working one day and 2 of them working the next. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't matter. Same amount of money. These employees could work on recycling on the days that we currently pick up trash. Initially, the employees would collect cardboard and paper products. We could easily expand this later if it works. Okay, go to the next one here. Now, how would it work? 1 to 2 weeks before the recycling program would begin, these recycling employees would follow each trash route and either place a flyer in the door or attach one via sticker to the toter of the customer. The flyer would detail the program and the expectations for the customer. Okay, Aaron. Now, each week on the appointed trash day, so if your trash day is Monday, it's on Monday. The recycling employees would follow the trash route and pick up any cardboard or paper items the customers have. Okay. Customers would be expected to either have their cardboard or paper bundled and tied, or all in one or maybe two cardboard boxes. So in other words, you got a box, you just put your cardboard in the box, set it right by your toter. Okay, Aaron?
What time? What?
Customers would be instructed in the flyer on what not to put with their
About 15,
recyclable
20
cardboard or paper. In other words, no pizza boxes, styrofoam,
I'll
some
call
of
you
the
back.
things that are negative
All right.
to recycling. Okay, go ahead, Aaron. As employees become more familiar with the route, they could go ahead of the trash trucks. And if they should see something that shouldn't be in the materials they collect, in other words, they come up to their set of cardboard, and there's a pizza box, they could just pick that pizza box up and toss it in the toter if they wanted to. Once the cardboard is collected, it would be placed in the community recycling dumpsters. And that's what I thought, but maybe there's another alternative to that. Here's some other thoughts, okay? Once we see how the cardboard pickup goes, we can phase in other recyclables, like plastic and metal and different things. This should reduce the amount of material the city takes to the landfill and actually save us some money. Okay, next step. Our citizens have been wanting recycling for quite some time, and it seems we can give it to them fairly easily. And basically, I think we can give it to them at no added cost, which is something kind of special for a city to do. Okay, next. We can do something positive for our community, our citizens, and our environment. And that brings us to the last one. And there's me, it's kind of looks like me on top. Let's do it. So that's the presentation. Anybody have any comments? And I'll send that out to each of you via email.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Rex, at some point, don't you think that some sort of toter or container would be needed for recycling? I know a lot of cities use the color red for those type of containers. Do you foresee that?
Well, eventually we might want to go to that point. I mean, eventually we're going to come to the point, and I think really about mid-year next year, where we're not going to have to just be buying toters right and left. Like right now, we got to buy a lot of toters because there's a lot of them out there that they're busted up. But pretty soon we're going to have that under control, and we'll have a certain amount of money going in there regularly. And we could get to the point where we say, okay, we're going to now look at purchasing, some containers for recycling specifically. I think that's a possibility, but I think we can get it started without the containers maybe.
The recycling companies furnish different color bags. Plastic goes in one color bag, glass goes in a different color bag, paper goes in a different color bag, but that's bagged.
Well, I mean, I guess if the recycling companies will provide it to us, then we could have those people leave everybody a bag, for what we want.
Well, you'd leave them a whole box of different colored bags. Everybody would get a whole box of different colored bags, not limit them to one.
Right.
Pickup.
If they'll do it, if the recycling companies will give them to us, that's no cost to us. I mean,
the only reason we put the dumpsters down where they're at right now is simply because it was the quickest way we could get this Christmas season coming up, trying to get some cardboard and paper out of our city trash. And they put in Thursday or Friday. They've already emptied it twice. I know one of them's full right now.
I think we'll get a bump on that right now, especially. I just think that as the new year comes and after the new year, people just kind of go back in their old habits, a lot of them, and we can take care of this, especially if we can get some bags. I mean, especially eventually if we go to plastic and metal and things like that, which also would lower our landfill imprint.
Rick, I appreciate your effort and what you've done here, and I think that's a great idea. I would be interested to see your numbers calculation on the labor costs for your part-time employees, and the added overhead expense it would be for those two part-time employees to see if your numbers really work out.
Well, I mean, you figure, if we're taking in 14,000 right now, one third of that is about $4,300. So you're going to pay those two people, part-time employees, about $4,000 a month. You just figure out what that comes down to if you're going to have them work X number of hours a day, and that's pretty good money for that number. I mean, we can pay them a fair wage for a part-time employment. We can pay them more than what we do seasonal workers, I think.
Well, I know the labor pool is pretty tough right now, I can tell you. But if you've got those numbers where you can email them to us, I'd really like to look at those numbers. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm not saying I'm not. I feel more confident if I could actually analyze the numbers and see if it cash flows.
Yeah, I kind of envision that job being one that, maybe a retiree that's not maybe quite up to where they're getting Social Security, or they getting some Social Security but don't want to go over the limit and just want a part-time job, could fill one of those positions, especially if you broke it down into 4 people instead of 2. I think it's very doable. But I'll write that down, Lynn.
I appreciate it.
My calculations show about $12.50 an hour.
Yeah.
If you do 2 employees at $4,000 a month on a 20-day month work, about $12.50 an employee for an 8-hour day.
Yeah, and it might not have to be a whole 8-hour day. It might just be 6 hours, because they're going to go around. They can eventually, once they get the route down, go ahead, and they can probably move faster than the trash truck can in terms of, because they're not going to stop at every home.
I get it. In the perfect world, this all sounds wonderful, but it just seems to me what happened. I mean, there's things that come into play, like what happens if that employee doesn't show up that day, or it happens to be 10 below zero and he chooses really not to show up that day. Then what do? Do we pull someone out of our labor pool we have to do that round, or do we let the cardboard sit there and get wet for whatever? But it's all good. I just need to think all that through.
Okay, that's good. That's good questions.
And I think we have to figure in the equipment. Are we going to use the city truck to pick this up in, or those are other things that we need to think about. So think about that too, Rex.
Yeah, we got a lot of trucks sitting around, it seems like, down there. So.
Do you already have that labor force negotiated with the union?
No, that would have to be your job, Your Honor. But we do have seasonal part-time workers, so I'm assuming they might be appropriate, might be receptive to that. And plus, we're not going to take away a union worker's job. We're not laying anybody off. Okay, if nobody else has any comment, that's all I have.
Carrie, you've been patiently waiting. Bless your heart. Did you have a report for us this evening?
A report. I don't have a report. I got 2 things. One is super important. We're giving away e-commerce and business adaptation grants. So if you guys can help me promote that, that'd be great. It's $3,000 for anything to do with a website for businesses in Henry County. And we'd love to help as many as possible. I have almost $50,000 to grant out. And the other one is Newcastle Main Street is working on a strategic plan. And we'd love to have anybody from the council involved in that. We're going to do a series of Zoom meetings. I know everybody loves Zoom meetings so much. So if you want to be involved, just let me know. I would love to have your input, because we're going to, this is a long-term plan for us, and we're going to work on getting a paid director. So that's it. And I'm happy with any questions.
Well, the flower pots look great once again. They look super, and the luminaries look great. Thank you for doing that. I know I saw some drippy noses both days out there, putting them down and taking them up. Appreciate all the lights that are decorated. You guys have done a good job. Thank you.
Will your first, if we are interested in participating, will your first Zoom meeting be about how to use Zoom for a meeting?
No, our
Okay.
first Zoom meeting is a happy hour on Zoom and talking about the strategic plan. So maybe you guys are interested now. I don't know. But I don't know if this is legal or not, Joel. Don't pay attention. But I'm delivering beer to anybody who's going to be part of the meeting. And we're going to have it Thursday starting at 5 to 6:30.
That's bribery.
Carrie,
That's called
if we
bribery.
don't drink, will you deliver? If we don't drink, will you deliver cookies or something like that?
For those who don't drink, Rex, I'm delivering root beer.
There you go.
So there you go.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? If nothing else, I'm looking for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thanks,
Hey, everybody.
everyone.
Meeting
See
adjourned.
everybody.
Thank
See ya.
you.
Everybody be safe. Have a
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
You guys too.